In this session we will see filtering pattern. Filtering pattern is nothing but finding a smaller useful subset from the larger dataset. Like filter all the comments in the Stack Overflow website that contains Hadoop keyword. Like filter all the comments from teenage users. Like filter top 10 users from Stack Overflow website based on their reputation. All these are the examples of filtering pattern. So let's go ahead and see the demonstration of filtering pattern. The problem given here is filter out top 10 users from Stack Overflow website based on their reputation. We will solve this problem using MapReduce filtering pattern. Let's check the user dataset first. This is the user dataset. Even here, each user details is an XML element. There is one user record per line. So text input format can be used here, where offset will be the key and each user record will be the value. Here we have reputation field. Using this field, we can filter top 10 users. Let's see how we can solve the problem using MapReduce program. Each map task will process its input split and filter out top 10 users based on the reputation. Suppose there are n map tasks. Then each map task will process its input split and filter out its local top 10 users. The local top 10 users emitted from all the map tasks will be sent to the single reducer. This single reducer will then process all the local top 10 users and filter out final top 10 users based on the reputation. As a result, we will get top 10 users from the whole dataset. Since each map task will emit top 10 records, these records will be emitted as output value. Now we need to decide on the output key. We have to choose the output key such that top 10 records from each map task has to be grouped together as a value of that key. So clearly there has to be only one key. You can choose anything that is unique and make it as the output key. Here we will use null writable as the key, because null writable is unique in itself. Null writable is a data type similar to int writable or long writable. Only thing is that it represents null, and null is unique. So each map task will emit null writable as the key and top 10 user records as the value. In the reducer, all the records that has the same key will be grouped together. Clearly, all the top 10 records emitted by all the map tasks will have the same key, that is null writable. So all the top 10 records from all the map tasks are grouped together and given to the reduce function. Now the reduce function will compute the final top 10 user records from all these records. Let's see the code now. This is our driver code. Everything is same as we saw in the previous examples, except for two things. First is that there is no combiner class here. That's because you cannot write combiner class for every problem. So combiner class is optional in MapReduce. Second is that we have intentionally specified only one reducer. That's because, as explained earlier, all the top 10 user records must go to the same reducer. Let's see the mapper code. Since each line is a user record, text input format is the input format, where offset is the key and user XML element is the value. As explained earlier, data type of map output key is null writable. And since map output value is top 10 user records, data type of the map output value is text. Here we are using tree map Java data structure. You can use the data structure of your choice. You can use a stack data structure or queue data structure or an array list. Tree map is a sorted map data structure. As usual, we are parsing the input user record. Then we are extracting reputation field. We are adding user record to the tree map with reputation as the key. Since it is a sorted map, the least reputed record will be the first record. Whenever more than 10 records are added, first record is removed. That is, the least reputed record is removed. After processing all the records from the input split, this tree map will have top 10 records. We are not emitting the key and value immediately every time a record is processed in the map function. Instead, we are collecting it in the tree map data structure. Finally, all the top 10 records collected in the tree map are emitted from the cleanup function. So what is this cleanup function? Cleanup function is a function called at the end of the map task. That is, it is called after all the records in the input split is processed. If you want to do any cleanup at the end of the map task, then you can use this function. It is not called for every record as the map function is called. Instead, it is called only once for each map task. And it is called after all the records are processed. This is also different from the cleanup task created by the scheduler for each job during job initialization. This is just a function that runs in the context of map task. Since it is called only once and it is called after all the records are processed, top 10 user records are emitted from this function. Let's see the reducer code now. As said earlier, reducer input data type must match mapper output data type. So key is null writable and value is text. Reducer output is also top 10 records. Hence reducer output key is null writable and value is text. Logic applied here is same as we applied in the mapper function. But we are not calling the cleanup function. Instead, we are writing the output from the reduce function itself. As said earlier, reduce function is called once for each unique key. But in our example, there is only one key, that is null writable. So the reduce function will be called only once. Hence there is no harm in writing the final output from the reduce function. Before emitting the top 10 records, we are sorting it in the descending order, so that the output shows highest reputed records at the top of the list. Let's run the program and check the output. I am running this program on the local system. Also, the input path and output path is already configured. This is our output. Reputation of the first record is around 64,000 and reputation of the second record is around 49,000. So clearly user records are sorted by reputation. Finally, we have top 10 records based on reputation. That was all about top 10 filtering pattern. Thank you for listening to this session.